We're going to animate each letter in Mr. Smith, which we just typed. Right now we only have it in one layer. The first thing we're going to do is we're going to get each letter on its own layer. So if we click on it and a right click will then give us this option here, break apart, and we see the one piece of text breaks to the separate letters. They're not in their own layer. Again, it's a right click and now distribute to layers, and there we go, we've got a layer for each of our letters. The name layer we had to begin with is now empty, so we can trash that one. And at this point here, we're going to take each of our letters and we're going to convert them to a symbol. We will of course again make them a graphic, something sensible. Same with the other ones. Just do this one here, convert to a symbol. You of course can press F8 and you're all going to appear in the library. So you get ahead and do that with the rest of the name, and then we'll do our next piece, which is to animate each of the letters. All the letters now converted to symbols. Let's get to animating. So we're going to animate the M first of all. Just before that, the border layer will always be in place, but it won't be animated. So right now I'll go out to about frame 70, so we can see that easily enough, and I will insert frames so the border is always there. Back to frame 1, and on the M layer, let's animate it. Just before we do it, I'm actually going to go up and turn on the rulers, and what that allows me then to do is just to drag a line down here, which is just a guideline, just to make sure that when I move my letters they all remain in the same line. I'll put another guideline at the top, so it just helps you to keep things all together. Now the M at frame 15, I'm going to keep using the 5, 10, 15 and so on, just to make it easier to track my animations. I'll insert a keyframe. That's where I want it to end up, where it actually is right now. It's frame 1 we want to go back, and what we want to do with the M is we want to take this one off of the screen. So I'm going to take that down to the bottom of the screen. And the other thing that we're going to do is we're going to reduce the visibility of it to begin with. And the further up the screen it goes, the more visible it will become. And the way we do that, if we click on the M and go to the properties, and its color effect, and it's the alpha value that we change. And if we want to drag that right down to 0, then you can see the M basically disappears here. Okay, somewhere in between our two keyframes, if we create a classic tween, then just scrubbing through, we can see we've got the M doing what we want it to do. Okay, I'll now take the R, and the R, I'm going to actually start the animation as soon as the M falls into place. So we don't want the keyframe here. So if we just click on that keyframe and then drag it, and it's going to start just as the M animation finishes. So there we are. Going to do the same thing as we did before, except we're going to do the opposite. So again, I'll go out to frame 30 and insert a keyframe. That's where we want the R to end up. So go back to 15, and what we want to do with the R here, the opposite, we're going to make it descend into place. So it's going to start off of the screen to begin with, but what we'll also do with it, well, it's going up there, we're going to reduce its visibility, which will increase as it comes more into play. So again, we go to the color effects and the alpha value at 0. We need a tween. If we put our tween in place, then we can see it becomes ever more visible as we go along. don't see the M, well, the M is actually going to stay in place for quite a while, so let's actually just go out to frame 70 and we can insert a frame, and in fact we can do that with the R as well, and of course we could test the whole animation. It's looking okay. I'm going to leave you now to get ahead and do the rest of the letters here, and notice the little pattern that's going to build up here. So the S, it's going to begin here just as the R animation finishes, and again 15 frames along, insert a keyframe, and at the beginning we will be moving the S because it's the third letter, it'll be moving down, so the first, third, fifth, seventh letter and so on, they're going to rise up, what is the second, fourth, sixth, they're going to fall down into place. So we'll leave you to get ahead with that, see how you get on.